Four major European biotechnology companies have announced plans to set up a biopharma industrial complex in Nigeria. This is in partnership with a Nigerian company named PIA Biopharma. This was disclosed in a statement by the Office of the Presidency after the Nigeria Integrated Biopharmaceuticals Industries Consortium met with President Buhari earlier this week. Joining us to discuss these headlines, Ifeanyi Otisi, who is an analyst with Financial Derivatives Company Limited. Good morning, Ifeanyi. Great to have you. So, Google joining a list of other companies setting up centers in Nairobi, I think Visa and a couple other companies. What do you make of that development?
For companies who want to see improvement in their assets, revenues, and profits, you find out that they either create new products or they enter new markets. So the tech space, especially in Africa, is such an untapped area, and you find out that companies from the Western world are coming in to tap into this potential and basically take advantage of the young, tech-accessible demographic in Nigeria. Now, Google coming in is such a major development. Like you mentioned, Google came in through the artificial intelligence development plants that is set up in Ghana back in 2019.
That's right.
And then recently, the production development center that is set up in Nairobi, and more recently, the subsea internet cable called Equiano came in yesterday, landed in Lagos.
Yes, it did.
Now, it is such a huge development. Like I said earlier, it's going to improve internet connectivity, improve internet speed, which will definitely help companies and businesses who depend so much on provision of internet to run their businesses. You have content creators who stream everything live these days. So bringing it back to Nigeria, it's projected that this would increase Nigeria's GDP by about $10 billion and create employment opportunities to the tune of about 1.6 million by 2025. It will help also generate or boost Africa's digital transformation, which is Google's overall aim.
Right.
So hopefully the $1 billion injection of Google into the African market space will help see that in the future.
Great stuff. Now, that's good news. On the flip side, you've got Standard Chartered, I think Barclays earlier, announcing strategic exits from Africa. What do you make of that?
Well, companies that leave a market space or divest do that probably because they want more available cash, or because they want to focus their energy and their efforts towards more productive ventures or more viable markets. So Credit Suisse left or reduced their exposure in the African market space and partnered with Barclays to cater to the wealth management clients that they had. Then Standard Chartered Bank recently announced that it's intending to leave 7 African countries, basically to focus their energy, their resources on other productive markets and other productive ventures within the African space.
Interesting. So the good and the bad coming in and leaving. The Angolan gas deal with Italy. I think there's some other countries that Italy is talking about. It's like some kind of gas tour that Italy is taking of the African continent. What do you make of that? Can African nations benefit from these deals?
Oh yes, definitely. But to give a bit of context, Russia was the 8th largest gas producer. And prior to the Russia-Ukraine crisis, we had Russia being the major supplier of gas to Western Europe.
Okay.
Now, with economic sanctions and with bans placed on products and imports from Russia, you found that European countries who once depended on gas from Russia now have to find alternative sources. So we've seen situations where these countries have approached Asian markets, and Asian markets have said they want to focus their attention on the Asian customers, and then they're now coming to Africa. So Italy going into conversation with Angola and Congo and possibly Mozambique is further showing that European countries are trying to diversify, get alternative sources of gas so that they're not just reliant on one market, and then they also want to boost their reserves, seeing as winter is coming in a couple of months, and they want to have enough heat and enough energy for their customers and their citizens basically to use during the period. Yes.
Winter is coming. I think isn't that the tagline for Game of Thrones? Okay, what about Nigeria? I mean, I know there was an EU delegation that came like a week or two ago, but isn't Nigeria supposed to be in this conversation?
Nigeria should be in the conversation, being the largest producer of proven gas in the African space.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, Nigeria's had conversation with representatives from the European Union with regards to this same issue. Recently, they've had meetings with the state minister Minister of Petroleum, Mr. Dimitri Silva, regarding this. We don't know what the outcome of the conversation is, but we're hoping that it will be beneficial, especially for the Nigerian market space. Now, taking into consideration the fact that Nigeria's production capacity is capped at 22.5 million tons, and there's a project Train 7 that's in place to try to boost that capacity to about 30 million tons by 2025. So we're watching this space. It's a lot of investment, but it provides a lot of opportunity for the Nigerian space.
Can you speak more about, I guess, infrastructure efficiencies and how that can boost output?
Infrastructure efficiencies, basically, there's a lot that we need to consider when it comes to that. So infrastructure, I'll talk about inefficiencies and how we can make them efficient. So if you're bringing it down to the agricultural space, there are a lot of things we need to consider in the value chain. So you're looking at things from research all the way down to planting, harvesting, storage, transportation, logistics, the inefficiencies when it comes to development, research, providing equipment for farmers and people generally to be able to boost production, to be able to meet demands as well. If you're looking at storage, for example, we don't have sufficient storage facilities for products and farm produce that are sensitive and need specific storage conditions. Right. We have problems with logistics. Talk about transportation, bad roads, insecurity, and then poor state of the vehicles that are actually doing the transporting from the storage facilities to the market and then to the final consumers. Now, making them efficient, we need to ensure that there are, for example, seed variants that can withstand certain weather conditions to boost manufacturing, boost productivity. Then we need to make sure that planting, harvesting products are top-notch and up-to-date. Make sure that storage facilities that cater to these specific seedlings that are going to be developed by the research units are well taken care of. And then farmers are educated as well regards to how these new plants and products work, how the seeds will work together with fertilizers, how to test fertilizers and the soil, that they would, how they would interact and things like that, just to make sure that everything works well.
Very in-depth. There's so much more questions. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. Ifeanyi Otisi, Financial Derivatives Company Limited, thank you so much for joining us to talk tech, gas, manufacturing, and so much more. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.